What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Codex Station Comic Character of the Week. I am Sal today. I am your host today. I am Sal, the Slab Guy. And let me give you a quick introduction to everybody right here before we get into our deets. Down below, we got Dan the Man Kelly. Look who he's holding up there. Just next to him is Archduke Kevy himself. And to the left of me, or to the right of me, depending on which side you're looking at it, is Antonio Banderas, the J-Dub himself. How you doing, guys? What's going on?
Antonio Bandana.
Antonio Bandana.
Yeah, Bandana.
You fool! I'll get it right. I promise. Next time.
He's gonna be the last show he's ever on, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah, and Antonio Bandana over here." Be like, "We finally did it."
Or Tony Bandana, and say hello to all his little friends.
Okay, okay. I promise. I'll get it right next time. I promise. All right, so let's throw in some deets here. Like I said, I'm Sal the Slab Guy. You can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and under Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. Dan, why don't you tell us where they can find you at?
Check me out on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art and go give me a follow. Let me know what you think of the stuff. And while you're doing that, check out what this guy's got going on over here.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, and also on Instagram, where we post a different character and all sorts of other goodies regarding this geekery that we all know and love. Come on over, check us out, and join up and become part of our family. And J-Dub, what up, my man?
What's up is everyone should take the chance and go check out the codexstation.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything Codex related. Get some merch, meet the team. Let us know what you like and don't like. And at the very, very bottom, ladies and gentlemen, are all of our links that are posted there. So you have no reason to miss out on any of the content that we're providing for you, because we have so much and so much for everyone. Everything you can think of, we have a category for you. So go over there, like, share, subscribe. Like I said, if you like the video and this content we're putting out for you right now, smash that like button. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Definitely.
So much content to give.
Yes, so much content.
I had to take
I know you did. Thank you for breathing. Breathing. All right. So today this is Archduke Kevy's pick. So why don't you tell us who we're covering today?
Today we are covering the Green Machine himself, John Jones.
Swamp Thing?
The Martian Manhunter. Yes, exactly.
Nice.
The other Green Machine.
Another Green Machine. So Dan, why don't you give us the 411 on this guy?
All right. Well, he first appeared in Detective Comics issue 225 in November 1955, just missing the start of the Silver Age by less than a year. Created by Joseph Samachin and Joe Certa. I'm sure, as we discussed in the pre-show, all of us will have a different pronunciation for his name. Yeah. So John Johns, whatever, is a Martian.
Whatever.
He's a Martian that is accidentally transported to Earth through an experimental teleportation beam by Dr. Saul Erdel, who dies of shock when he sees him, which prevents him from being able to get home. So he adopts initially the identity of John Jones, who is a detective and becomes a detective on Earth, and then eventually gets a bunch of different identities. And he is a founding member of the Justice League. At one point, he was just one of many Martians, and then he was changed later to be the last Martian. As far as his powers go, he's, pick a power out of a hat and he's got it. Right, super Martian vision, invulnerability, telepathy, shape changing, invisibility, intangibility. I'm sure I missed one or two, but it's pretty much if Superman has it, he has it, plus a couple extra.
Yep.
Can he bake a pie? That's the question.
He prefers Oreos.
As long as it is not near an open flame.
There you go.
That's why Oreos are the safe bet.
So true. All right, before we go into the meat and the potatoes of the show, let's go ahead and just give a shout out to our sponsor, Dubby Energy. So Jamie, why don't you go ahead and kick us off on that?
Yes, if you haven't had the chance yet, go check out Dubby Energy over at dubby.gg. Guys, they have so much for you. It's one of the cleanest efficient energy drinks on the market today. And if you want to save yourself some money, use the keyword code X, that's CODE-X at checkout. Save yourself 10%, and it helps us out, the little podcast that could. But Sal, tell them why they should get this product.
They should get this product because there's no bad aftertaste, there's no jitters, and there's no crash afterwards, and it tastes great. You know, all those other energy drinks that are out there, they taste like crap. They do, and they're horrible. But this one is a clean, good tasting energy drink, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. And they also offer the non-caffeinated, which Sal, you actually picked up and told me was probably the best one that they had.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. That was the banana,
the Monkey Madness.
Monkey Madness one. That is correct. That is a good stuff.
Yeah,
Definitely check it out.
I have a question. So, just out of curiosity, if we were interested in trying this energy drink, but we may not want to have to pay full price for it, is there a way to maybe get I don't know, 10% off of?
Yeah, just use the keyword codex, like we said, CODE-X, and you save that 10% on any order you want. They also have a starter pack, which comes with 2 flavors, which I believe still is the Dragon Aid and the Peach and Beach. Yeah. And it comes with a shaker as well. So if you guys just want to try it just to see how it is, I believe it's only $14, but save the 10% on it and the shipping. So go check it out.
Definitely.
Great.
Definitely.
So great.
Dan, what were you saying there? Or were you saying something with that?
Oh, I was saying what is it? The Monkey Madness? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What did you mix it with other than water?
That's not live on air. We do not talk. This is the fan family show.
That will be only on the Patreon level. Speaking of Patreon, there we go. Show the Patreon link there.
Yeah, you'll get our secret energy drink recipes.
That is true. So true. For the cost of a small cup of coffee or a large cup of coffee or one at Starbucks, depending on where you go. You can get subscribed to our Patreon, which gives you behind the scenes look, get shout out from our hosts, get your name up on our screen. There's a whole bunch of stuff there that you got to check out.
Sweet.
But just use your smartphone, click that link.
That one right there.
There you go. Yes, that one right there.
Bunch of cool stuff on that.
All right, now let's get into the meat and potatoes, guys. Meat and potatoes. So we're going to go through all things about this character, but we're going to start off with what works best. So, Kevin, why don't you go ahead and kick it off and give us what works best?
Okay, so for me, in the Justice League animated series, they established Wally West was the heart of the Justice League. And that works fine for the cartoon, but for me, I think John is the heart and soul of the Justice League. He is the backbone. He is the moral compass of the team, of any iteration that he's on. John is, I think, the heart and soul of the Justice League. And I think they could screw that up if they tried, but I mean, everything that I've read, it's been John as like the person that the other characters kind of look to see whether or not this is a good idea morally to go down that path, whatever that may be. So I love John Jones as being the heart of the Justice League. Yeah. So.
Nice. So Jamie, what do you got for what works best for you?
So for me, what works best for John Jones is actually when they use both personas. So they have Martian Manhunter and they have the Detective John Jones. And I feel like a lot of times they don't utilize that aspect, but what they do, it's amazing. Like you have to have these two. He has his own secret identity, basically, from himself. So it's great to see those two different perspectives of how he tries to live life like a normal human, and then also being the Martian from Mars, that the family no longer exists. And having those two separate entities, I think, works the best for him. It's not really utilized as much as I would like in the comics. I feel like he's more pushed towards the Manhunter portion, and then the detective side is kind of left out. But when he's walking around going to a bar and they're like, what do you want? He's like, Oreos. It's the best thing.
Yep. Yes, indeed. All right, Dan, what you got for what works best?
I kind of agree with Jamie and Kevin. Like I like when they've established he's got a bunch of different identities all over the world, but John Jones, the detective, is, I think, the best one. And I really like they haven't done it a lot, but when they have, where they've done him like a crime noir type thing with him.
Yes,
I love it. It's great. They haven't, like I said, they haven't done it enough for my taste, but I think he's a character that really works well with that. And like Kevin said, with him being the heart of the Justice League, he was one of the founding members, and up until New 52, when they didn't have him as a founding member anymore, he was the only character that had been a member of every incarnation of the Justice League.
Yeah,
he was the only one that was there through all of them, and I think he works best as part of the team. Like Kevin said, he's the heart of the team. He's the moral compass, and he's one of the biggest powerhouses they have too.
Yep.
So
that's so true.
Yeah,
so
that's
true.
how I like him best. What about you, Sal? What do you think?
Well, you guys kind of touched on a lot of it. I really like the shape-shifting abilities of him. I think they utilize that to, is really good. And I like the mind reading thing, but I like it when it's limited. I don't like when it goes too much into the mind reading thing, because there's some issues down there what I don't like. I'll tell you about those later. But I also really like when they start expanding on the Martian lore. I really like that, because I feel like they have no type of limitations whatsoever. They could go anywhere or do anything with it. And the other thing I like about it is, I read this also, he's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of superheroes. Right. Whatever you need it to be, whatever you need at that situation, he can be that in that situation. Yep. So that's what I like. That's what I like best. All right. So on to the next subject here is we're going to list our 3 badass moments with Martian Manhunter. And let's see. Jamie, why don't you kick us off with your 3 badass moments?
Yeah. So I have basically 2 fights that I really need to push, and one part that made me just go, oh my God. And I think everyone had this moment if they read this series. Yeah. So first off, I got Jean and Stargirl battling Despero inside the Firestorm Matrix.
Yep.
If anyone's never read that series, oh my God. I believe that is one of the craziest thought processes that ever went into a fight. Inside the Firestorm Matrix, it first off, Firestorm, if you haven't checked that yet, we did cover Firestorm 2, another comic character of the week, but it is just amazing to see, and the fight was great. But my second one,
that was in Forever Evil, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the second one I have is when in the New 52, when John takes on the whole Justice League.
Yeah.
I thought that showcased his abilities better than the last 20 years, in my opinion. And just seeing every aspect of him and what he can do is just probably the most badass thing you could think of. Seeing every power set he has, going up against Superman, going up against Batman, Wonder Woman, and holding his own. Now, the last one is near and dear to my heart, because this is my oh my God shock factor moment that I had while reading the series. So if anyone out there has read Blackest Night, the one person you do not want to have a Black Lantern ring is Martian Manhunter. And I sat there and read that series, and I was like, oh, it only goes for the ones that are dead. Okay, cool. I'm like, Batman, Superman, we got this. We got Martian Manhunter.
You know how they beat him? You know how they beat him?
It's been a while. Wasn't it?
They did a flaming tornado.
Yeah. I remember the flame. I just couldn't remember what they did with it. But there's a lot that happens in that series. So just seeing him undead with the Lantern ring. Oh my God. That
was pretty wicked.
So Dan, what do you got?
That what you mentioned, the New 52, where he fights the Justice League, was awesome, and that was one panel too. They never even really showed the fight; they just showed this one panel, and you're just like, "Oh my God, I want to watch that! I want to read that," because it would be a whole issue.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. Just know what he's doing, and what he can do, and then see it matched up potentially against all these characters. I was just like, yes, please.
Yeah. So one of mine actually kind of is like that. It's from the the JLA series when Joe Kelly was writing it. It's the storyline Trial by Fire, where at this point John has gotten over his vulnerability to flame, but the problem with that, it unlocks this ancient Martian kind of genetic code where the Martians were originally these like flaming Martians, and it supplants his personality and takes over his body. So it's essentially Martian Manhunter with all of his powers and everything, but completely untethered. And he essentially shows that he could do anything. Like he mentally like takes control of essentially everyone on the globe and stops all crime, all war. And then he just wipes the floor with the Justice League, not once, but just repeatedly. And it's really only through, Batman's paranoia that they're able to find a secret weapon to beat him. But it shows like if he really wanted to, he's just a world-ending threat himself.
Yes. Yep.
Another one I have is Justice League Annual #1. So there was an intelligent disease that infected the planet, and it made everyone join this collective except for John, who was immune since he's Martian. And so he's left kind of fighting this on his own. And when it infected Dr. Fate, because of Dr. Fate being in the helmet, the person took the helmet off. So John put on the Dr. Fate helmet and used that, had the power to trace everything back to the original single spore. He fights and beats the Justice League, and then he absorbs the original spore into his own body to save the world.
That's awesome.
And then the last one I got is from Final Crisis Requiem. It was when all these villains had teamed up and managed to kill him. And in his dying moments, he reached out telepathically to all of his fellow Justice Leaguers that he was closest with, all of his friends. And he had them write his history, write it out, in a book, kind of like his memoirs, but write it in his native Martian. And then when they flew him to Mars and they laid him to rest, they had the book that they had written of his life story in Martian that they had put there with him. And to just think about the power it would take to do that, but also doing it, for it also represented his character a lot too, that it's, here's my story for everybody.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I thought that was pretty great. So what about you, Kev? What do you got for your top 3?
All right, well, I got one from you and one from Jamie there. So Justice League of America #8, Volume 3 is when Power Girl and John fight Despero in the Firestorm Matrix. Those are 3 characters that, as far as I'm concerned, have never or as far as I know, have never interacted with each other. And I think Despero would be a great arch enemy for John. It's such a bizarre combination of set of circumstances that, as Jamie said, the fight is one thing. Just that set of circumstances is just such a bizarre combination that you can't help but love that and read it. And the what you mentioned, Dan, when John becomes Furnace, which is kind of a cool name, from Justice League or JLA numbers 86 to 90. It was such a great run, and you saw exactly what John was capable of. It took the entire Justice League and unlocking basically what Plastic Man is fully capable of in order to stop him. And if you think that's like, okay, whatever, wait till you see our episode on Plastic Man, which will be coming up eventually here, to see exactly how broke Evil O'Brien is, to actually get a full idea for how amazing that combination is. And for my last pick, I got to go with Martian Manhunter number 1,000,000,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
When John himself becomes the planet Mars, he restarts the entire planet, the entire dead planet that he came from. I mean, if that's not the embodiment of full circle and just kind of like poetic and beautiful, I don't know what is. That's such a great story. I highly recommend that one. So touching. So,
Yeah.
Just
All right,
remember,
very good.
What's that?
Dr. Manhattan is sitting on him then.
I didn't
That's
think
canon.
of that. That's pretty good.
That's canon now. That's canon.
Blue body parts and all.
Mhm.
Well, no, because the Martian Manhunter one, it takes place like, what was it like?
Dr. Manhattan is forever. I don't want to hear
Dr.
it. Hold your
Manhattan
logic
years in
and
the
just
future.
Time
shove
is
it.
irrelevant to Dr. Manhattan. He exists in all time and space. It's Dr. Manhattan.
It's
Yeah,
retconned.
that's a-
Watchmen or DC. You're good.
There you go.
Sal,
All
what
right.
you got?
All right, so for my badass moments, I actually only have one duplicate, and it was the Battle of the Firestorm Matrix.
Okay,
Matrix.
right.
So I'm not going to go into detail on that. That's an excellent story. An
I love
excellent
how we
badass
agreed
moment.
on one.
I
Yeah.
know. The
I'm
other
the
one I
odd man
have,
out there.
I know. That's all right. It's all good. So one of them I have is when he was battling. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's Decay Duraz.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and he flies him into the sun. So
Oh, yeah.
the whole premise behind this, he was working with, I think it was the Martian girl that was come back, and this guy Decay was actually using John's hopes to resurrect his family and all of Mars and all his Martians. And he was using them, to manipulate them. And he gets, he was already chastising this Miss Martian about the amount of violence that she was doing and all this other stuff. Then he finds out he's being manipulated, and he just gets pissed, and he flies this guy into the sun, and he gets resurrected by the White Lantern entity. So that's how he comes out of that. And the last one I have, and I can't believe you guys didn't have this one, but he had his telepathy is so powerful. He has the power to alter one's mental state. He was able to make the Joker sane just for a minute, to hand over some object that he had that picked up, just for a few moments. It was in JLA 15, I believe. I forget which volume now, but he was able to make Joker sane and hand over some talisman that he had because it was bad or going to destroy the world, the usual stuff. And then after he let him go, of course, Joker went back to his usual mad self. But just to bring sanity to the Joker alone, I think that's just a insane amount of power in a badass moment.
Yeah, that almost made my list too.
Yep. All right, so now we've gone over some badass moments. We're going to go into what we think sucks with this character. Why don't we like it? What don't we like about this character? So I'll kick this one off. And there's a couple of things I don't like about this character. And as much as I like the mental telepathy and stuff like that, I think when he overuses it, it kind of it reminds me too much of Professor X. He could really go too far and just control the whole world if he really wanted to. That's how powerful to me that it comes off as. And when he's part of a bigger team, yes, he's the heart and soul of the team, but I think he becomes a backstage player too much. And they don't really bring him into it. You got Superman, you got Batman, you got Wonder Woman. Everybody's going to town. Where's John? Oh, he's up in the watchtower, just kind of chilling out. He's just like
eating his fried Oreos.
Oh, God. Guys, there's a trouble over there. Go take care of it. And he's back to chilling out. It's only I only feel like I only feel like they pull him in when it's a epic level event type situation, which is fine, but I think they don't pull him in enough to me.
Okay.
So Dan, what do you have that you don't like about him?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That he's underutilized. I feel like he should be the focal point of the DC universe. Like I said, there's so many characters that that trust him implicitly, and they're like, oh, okay, well, if John says it's okay, then it's okay. But power wise and personality wise and all that, like he's all since he's not human, and he strives to understand humanity. You know, his morality makes him more human than a lot of them. And like you said, he's a powerhouse, and they only tend to bring him in on these powerhouse things and then kick him to the curb. But like in JLA 86, and I had to write this quote down because it was so great. It was in the midst of the Trial by Fire crossover storyline. In JLA 86, Superman says, "I can count on one hand the number of beings in the known universe I would be afraid to face in open combat. John Johns is at the top of that list. He is the most powerful being on the face of the earth." And that's Superman saying this guy is the most powerful being in the world. And they just underutilize him so much. And I think it's almost kind of the way they do it with Firestorm, kind of the way they do it with Captain Atom. He's so powerful that they don't really know how to write him. But unlike those characters, he's got, the aversion to fire. So there is that weakness built in, but it's like, Superman's overpowered, but he's Superman, but all the other ones, they just like, they're too overpowered. Let's just kind of not deal with them. So that's, that's what I think. Underutilized, the main thing. So what about you, Jamie? What do you?
Oh my
Good
God.
points.
Underutilized is not the word for this. How do you have the most powerful being of all of DC almost and not use him to your advantage? You're gonna make him sit in a watchtower and make calls. He could beat the bricks off Superman and everybody else that's ever been a part of the JLA, the JSA, the Titans, everything. This man, Martian, can do it all, and you're just gonna have him be like, "Hey, Batman, while you're out, can you pick up some subs on the way back?" Like, no, what? Like, you can't be serious. You cannot not have him in the battle with you. And I think it's horrible what they're doing to this character. It's disheartening. I know when there's a new series coming out, I try to pick it up, and then it's canceled after 5 or 6 issues. And it's like, it should be an ongoing. What's going on? Is there not enough that people don't see in this character, the writers or anybody else, that can't make this character so great? It's just disheartening to the fact of you have an overpowered character that can destroy everything, but he's the most gentle, and we can't get that right.
It's very true.
Such an interesting character.
That's fair.
All right, how about Gabby? How about you?
I gotta say, they hardcore nerf the living crap out of this guy. I think we're all in agreement as far as underutilization is one thing, but they also never touch upon, like with the aforementioned unlocking of his genetic code and lack of vulnerability to fire. We saw what he was capable of, and this guy is probably able to do. Once again, we've established all the crap he can do with all of his powers, as Dan was explaining in the beginning of the show. I don't think he needs the Justice League. He can do all this crap and so much more effectively than everybody else. I'm speaking blasphemy here, but including Superman. They and once again, I like love the dynamic of the gentle soul and the godlike power combination, and they hardly ever touch upon anything that he's capable of doing, and it's really frustrating. And they're out of all of the characters that DC has kind of put on the back burner, I think they're missing an opportunity with John.
Yeah.
Those are some strong words from Archduke Kevy. Strong words. All right.
Well, let's get a label on this episode.
Strong words used by Archduke Kevy. All right, guys, let's get into the fun part, top covers. Now, these are the covers that we just love to see or that represent the character really well. So, Kevy, go ahead and kick us off with your top covers.
All right. Some good ones here, boys and girls. What we have is, oh my God, my glasses. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second.
Please stand by while Archduke is
Martian Manhunter number 33 shows the family that he has, the wife and the kids, and knowing what we know about John, he lost his family in the destruction of Mars, and that cover right there, because of that, is just heart-wrenching. It's so sad. Then we got the Martian Manhunter cover for the trade paperback of the Epiphany, and I kind of I love it when they draw John in more alien, less human proportions. And this cover is just so cool, establishing that, yeah, despite how much we, love and trust him, and he's part of our, our team and our family of superheroes, he is not human at all. And then we got the first issue of, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what volume of Martian Manhunter this is.
This was right after New 52.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
This one is showing, I'm not sure what planet that is, but it's showing the destruction of a planet with, and I'm assuming it's supposed to be Mars, which once again harkens back to what John is all about and how heartbreaking that is. And I love this iteration of his costume. Is more, less like a stripe across his chest, and it's more of a full costume, which I think works better for the character. So this cover, I think, is just synonymous with John in my mind. I love all of these.
Yeah, those are awesome covers. All right, Dan, show us your covers.
All right. So on the end there, I've got World's Finest 222, where he is just, I mean, it's pretty self-obvious. He's just beating the crap out of Superman. And yeah, and as we've talked about with his power level, like that's something that believably he could do.
Can we talk about the captions for just a second? Not only are you human Superman, but I've made you bleed.
Yeah, and then you look at his face, and he's got a black eye and a bloody lip.
Yep.
Like that's the line straight from Batman vs. Do you bleed? It should have been John Jones smacking the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Do you bleed?
In the middle is Martian Manhunter 24. It was part 5 of the Revelation storyline. And like Jamie alluded to, his love of Oreos, or originally in the comics it was Oreos, and then I guess they decided they didn't want to deal with copyright, so they changed it to Chocos, which is one they made up. It's just him sitting there on the mountain of them, which, it shows kind of a lighter-hearted side of the character, which is based on the Get Into Maddie's run. And yeah, it was a really, I mean, I just love that cover so much.
How are you not talking about the fact that he's sitting on top of Booster Gold?
Oh yeah, Beetle are under there because in the storyline they decided to play a prank on him where they stole his Chacos, and not just all the ones that he had in the embassy, in the JLA embassy, but they bought up every pack of it within a mile radius, and then they figured out that John is like, because of his physiology, is physically addicted to them, like the way that someone would be addicted to crack or alcohol or something. And he just goes on a rampage.
This took a turn.
Yeah.
To this warehouse where they stashed all of them.
It's a good thing that John isn't psychic or anything to be able to figure out what happened.
Well, when he lost control. And then the one on the end is Martian Manhunter, American Secrets, issue 1. Like I said, I like when they do kind of crime noir stuff with him, which they did in this miniseries. The miniseries itself, I didn't think was that great, but it had some really great covers, and this was the one for the first one. And I like how they just kind of just have his head there, and then like almost an outline of his cape, and then the picture of the girl in distress, and then nothing. Like it's just it there's a cover
negative
that really
space.
stands out.
It's very stark, which is an interesting combination.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, cool covers. All right, Tony Bandana and Tony Bandana, go with your covers.
All right, we got it.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I got
That's pretty
from the current run, or the most current run from Martian Manhunter, was number 4, and this is his like transformation between being the original Mars Martian and his basically secret identity John Jones split into two, and it just, that transformation looks amazing.
Yes.
Next up, I have the variant Martian Manhunter number 9. This is the B side, and the reason I love this cover so much is because when you think about the lore throughout the years, everyone's wanted to test what Martian Manhunter truly is as a species and going forward what he's capable of and seeing everything. And this gives me that feel with everything like tied into him and him just laying there like unable to move or, you know, do anything. It's just that stigma of if one of these, like if a Martian Manhunter did come down, this is exactly what would happen.
Yeah. Plus, I love that iteration of his costume.
Yes. And then lastly, Martian Manhunter issue 0. When I talk about stoic looks, I think this is the best one. With him in the back and then flying next to Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, which we did an episode on. If you guys get a chance, Wonder Woman, Superman, all episodes we've covered. Just flying next to these like gods, these immortals, and him being the front and center. I don't know. It just amazing to me.
That is great.
Yeah, it's cool covers. Awesome covers.
Sale.
All right, here we go. We got Martian Manhunter number 21, where he's lined up next to Aben Sur. I love this cover because I'm also a GL fan, but they're just both of them blasting away at something off screen, which is just wicked in itself. The next one, oh wait, I gotta maximize that. I can't even see that. Jeez,
right?
I need glasses too. All right, Martian Manhunter number 31. I just maximize my screen. So Martian Manhunter number 31. I like this one. Looks like he's in the midst of a battle. Alter Ego's conclusion episode or issue. It's just all the people, all the guys piling on. These are parademons. It looks like from Darkseid, and he's just wailing through them. And of course, the last one here, Martian Manhunter number 28, where he's fighting Etrigan the Demon. That's just pretty wicked fight to me. And you gotta love the bell bottom boots. Probably got those from Cyclops, but you know.
You know,
we don't talk about that character here at the station. I'm just letting you know.
We did talk about that character. We had a whole episode about how great.
Worst episode ever.
Was. You know, the demon actually, Etrigan, because of his ability to breathe fire, would actually be another really, really interesting arch enemy for John. Thinking about it.
That's true. You got absolutely right about that. All right, so we've seen all these top covers, but we got to find, where can we find a place to actually buy these covers and more? And I know just the place for you guys. It's called Heroes Corner Comics. You can shoot over to heroscornercomics.com. You can check out their website. They've got back issues. They've got slabs. They've got store exclusives. They're a great site. And if you use the word codex, that's CODEX, no hyphen, you can save 20% on that order. Plus, they've got a codex store bundle, which is 3 Heroes Corner Comics exclusive books, and that is for $30. And yes, the 20% off does work on that as well. You can even set up a pull list and get subscriptions like I do. So if you ever check out my channel, you'll see unboxings from them. Yep. They're great people. They're a good site, and you got to check them out.
Yes.
As everybody can attest here, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. So next we got our essential readings. These are readings that we like if you want to break into the character, or maybe you missed a story that you don't know about. These are the stories that we like the best or feel that you have to read for Martian Manhunter. So, Dan, why don't you kick us off with yours?
Okay. First up, I have got. Well, I'll start from the bottom. It's 2 stories that are unrelated, but I felt like with their theme they kind of go together. So it's A Day in the Life, which is a short story from JLA Secret Files and Origins number 1. It's only a couple pages, but it shows him how he pops into a couple different of his identities, and then it shows how he protects the entire world that, as he says in it, is kind of neglected by the other heroes. So like Australia and Europe and Asia and all these countries where he is even more revered even than Superman. And then Hidden Faces from Martian Manhunter issue 17, which again, like A Day in the Life, deals with a bunch of his different alter egos, and it shows the variety of them that he has all over the globe, just so that he can try and get understand humanity better. So he'll be the Detective John Jones, and he'll be, different races, different genders, different species, different animals, like throughout the globe, just to try and, like I said, interact with as much humanity as possible. And then in the middle one is Revelations, which is from the Martian Manhunter series. It's issue 20 to 24. A couple of them we had in our top covers. Each issue shows him interacting with a different character in DC. They're all stories that from his past. So it shows him interacting with Superman throughout Superman's life, from when he was a baby to when he became Superman. It shows him with Abin Sur. Shows him with Batman, and a few. And then the last one is the one that was in my covers with the Oreos, which is a more comedic bent on it. But it's really cool to see just how tied into the DC universe he was over the years.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have is the New Frontier, which I'd recommend reading, not just for being a great Martian Manhunter series, but just being one of the best comic series that you'll ever read. It is by Darwin Cook. It is absolutely fantastic. And the premise is about all of the DC heroes, where it takes place in the 50s, like if they're all popping up then and they all end up having to come together for this big threat. But Martian Manhunter is one of the characters that they highlight throughout the series. And it just shows, it's just fantastic. And there's one scene that it shows, it's really cool, when he first comes to Earth and he's trying to to kind of learn about the culture and blend in. He has a little bit of money and he rents this apartment, and he's watching TV, and then it's all these panels where it shows him shape changing into what he sees on the TV, from different people to like cartoon characters, and shows how he starts learning about the world through TV and going to the movies, and he talks about different aspects of stuff, and it's just absolutely fantastic.
It's very
cool.
Yeah, so those are the three I got.
Yeah.
Awesome choices. All right, Jamie, why don't you tell us what you got?
Do I have? No. All right. So first up, I have Identity. And if you guys not had a chance to check this out, I think it's probably one of the better Martian Manhunter stories. Basically, him being split, it kind of takes away from that aspect of it. And if you want a good storytelling of the Manhunter himself, that would be the one I would go to. Next up in the middle, I got American Secrets, one that Dan kind of shied away from earlier, which I didn't appreciate too much on that one. But it needed more love, so I'll give it that. It basically is depicted from the late 50s, and it's John Jones, Martian Manhunter, going through the idea of the American dream at that time. And I don't think anyone really looks too far into that. And it is a different perspective of us looking through a different lens of that time period. And I think that's, to me, probably the best thing for this character, and to see a different outlook overall.
That's interesting.
Lastly, I got Trial by Fire, which we've talked about, and it's John basically curing his fear of fire and becoming something else. I don't want to give too much away of who he is. Like Dan said earlier, Joe Kelly killed it in this series. I would definitely say check out these three for their different reasons, like seeing a different lens of what America was, his identity, or the split between his identity and what he could become.
Yes.
Very cool.
That is cool.
Awesome. So, Kevin, why don't you go ahead and give us your stories then?
All right. So I hate to repeat from my badass moments, but
That's all right.
honestly, like I said, John or Martian Manhunter number 1,000,000 was the one that I mentioned earlier, where he becomes planet Mars. He becomes the planet of his origin, and just an incredible thing. The burning, is what was mentioned. The trial by fire, Jamie mentioned, kind of the same spiel there. It's when he unlocks his potential, but also loses his sense of right and wrong in the process, and it becomes so scary. Um, Definitely worth checking out if you're interested in John Jones to see what he is capable of. And to go back to Jamie's call of identity, this is a modern retelling of John's origin story. And it's, I think, the perfect jumping on point to get a good basis for who and what the character is all about. So those are my three.
Nice. Good choices. Good choices indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
All right, so I guess
Sal,
we can jump. Yeah, let's jump into mine here. Mine are complete. Oh,
Give
there's
me
my
a
comments
second.
again. Yeah, oh, technical difficulties.
Nope.
There we go.
No, it
Sorry.
dipped out on me. I'm like, no.
All right, so here we go. We'll start at the top here. We got the Red Rising. This was from Martian Manhunter, I believe, Volume 2. And if I got this written down right, which I do, it covers issues number 7 through 12 and Justice League number 5. So this is a story about, a tyrant rules from the Red Planet now. I believe the Martian people are back, and there's a ruler there with an iron fist. But for Mars to live, Earth needs to die, and he has to decide which world that he is going to be in on. So it's definitely a good story to check out. Next one down is Martian Manhunter: Rings of Saturn. While I like this one was a little bit different for me because he suffered a lot of injuries, to Malefic. And he's returned to Mars to attempt to heal, but while he's away, Saturnian ships arrived, reclaimed gems, Son of Saturn. That kind of felt like a side story to me because it was the whole process with him was trying to recover, to view humanity in a different light, or at least get a better understanding of humanity. And 3, you got to see a lot of his identities that he's posed as over the years. And I kind of like that part of it. And that's why I kind of like this story. You can find out that he was actually a cat in one of his personas, or one of his disguises over in Italy. He disguised himself as a cat to watch or view humanity.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, that is. So my last one is the Epiphany, and this is where he, it's his basic struggle of trying to find his place in the Justice League, and he was also in Stormwatch, and now his past is coming back to haunt him like a usual story does, and he has to decide, is he the true hero that he knows himself to be, and step up to the plate basically, and be that person, or be that Martian, I should say. So this is definitely a good story to check out.
That is interesting as well. I really enjoyed that one.
Very good. All right. So on to our next subject. Now, this is the best writer and best artist. Not necessarily the best ones out there, but the ones that we like. When we think of John Jones, these are the guys that draw them and do the story for him. So, Jamie, why don't you kick us off for this one?
Okay, so for mine, I have for writer Rob Williams.
Okay.
I thought that his take on, like I said earlier, things I like is when the detective and you get the manhunter at the same time. And I think this series that he did best depicted that. As for artist, I have Tom Mandrake. And I think that it was great all the way around for him. So I when you visualize who Martian Manhunter is, that's the way I go.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. All right, Kevin, who do you have?
My writer, I gotta go with J.M. DeMatteis. He was the one that did John during the Justice League Europe, Justice League International years, and admittedly, it was a little bit more of a comedic take, but I loved that era for all the Justice League, and John was just that's what I go to mentally when I think of the character, just from my heart. And the artist, I got to go with Eddie Barrows. I think he was the one that did the most recent art for this most recent series, and I may be wrong, but I think that's where it was the most recent one.
Yeah.
And really interesting take on the character visually, different than what I've seen before. So those are my two.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Dan? What do you got?
I got two different ones in these guys. So I got for writer John Ostrander, who wrote his first ongoing series. He had a 4-issue miniseries, but Ostrander wrote the 4-issue or the ongoing miniseries, which is also the longest series that he's ever had. All of us have talked about something from his series before, either in a badass moment or in a cover or a story, something like. So for me, it all goes back to what he did. And for best artist, I almost went with Mandrake because their team was so great on there, but I ended up going with Doug Mank, who drew him in Justice League. And I just really like the way he draws, not just the way he draws John, but the way he draws his transformations when he does his shape changing, and because it's not just shape changing where he can change into another person. Like was it like you said, Sal? One identity he's just a cat, and sometimes he'll transform into these like great big monsters and stuff, and the way that Doug Mank portrayed that.
Yeah.
So how about you? What do you got?
Well, you guys took them. I thought I was going to be the only oddball out, but I actually chose John Ostrander as my writer, and I had Tom Mandrake as my artist. But I have to give up a shout out to Tanya Horry. She also did a lot of work with John Ostrander, and I liked her work as well. Yeah. So, but she's probably a tie with Tom Mandrake on my situation there. But yeah, definitely, you guys duplicated me on that.
And Bear was really good too. I agree with Kevin on that.
So here's the thought. So it's established that John has had different identities over the years, and he can shapeshift into animals. And we all know, as a Martian, he's green. So green and shapeshifting into animals. I'm pretty sure at this point, I'm convinced that John is actually Beast Boy from the Teen Titans. Calling it now. I'm calling it now.
What if it's his dad?
somehow related. Somehow related.
Manhunter is my daddy.
All right, guys.
All right.
Good choices, guys. Yeah, this is fun. We had good choices, good covers, good stories, good stuff all around. All right.
Very cool.
I think this wraps us up for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us on the Codex Station here for Comic Character of the Week. We appreciate you doing a like, share, subscribe on our channel. It only takes you a half of a second to do it, but please do, because we enjoy giving you this content. As always, I'm Sal, the Slab Guy. You can find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. Dan, tell them where they can find you when they're not on Codex.
Check me out on Instagram as well at Dan Kelly Art, and go give me a follow and comment on some stuff. Let me know what songs you want to hear. Let me know what you want to see me draw. I did just post a cover of me when I was almost drunk in the middle of the night and decided to do a cover of the theme song to DuckTales. So
you got to be half in the bag if you're doing DuckTales. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a banger right there.
Yeah,
that song goes hard.
Yep, definitely.
And this guy has got something going on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I created a group over on Facebook and Instagram called Comic Character of the Day, where we post a different character and put up all sorts of goodies regarding this comic book geekery that we all know and love. We would love to have you come over, check us out, join up, and become part of our family. We look forward to seeing you soon. And with that all being said, Jamie, take us on home, my brother from another mother.
Yes, guys, as always, if you guys like this content we're putting out for you, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm, helps us grow. So definitely do that. Like we said, it takes half a second for you to do that, but it means so much more to us. And while you're at it, go check out the codexstation.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, let us know what you like and don't like. And the most important part of all, at the bottom is all of our links for all of our socials. Click them, subscribe, follow, like, so that way you don't miss any of the content we're putting out for you, because we have a bit of everything for everyone, and you guys are going to enjoy it, I promise.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys in the next one.